Hello and welcome to the Mind of Sunnyvale. I am Wanda, aka Sunnyvale, and I would like to say welcome back to all of my subscribers. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. Don't forget, you also need to hit the like button and share it with someone you think will enjoy my videos. But wait, you don't have to feel left out if you haven't subscribed yet. It costs you nothing, and you will find out when I release new videos. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, and share the video. And of course, I'd love to get your comments and questions. So today, I need to correct a grievous wrong. I had a wonderful video showing you how to make delicious homemade cornbread, and I teased you with a bowl of chili at the end, but I didn't show you how to make the chili. Well, I intend to correct that wrong today. I'm going to show you how to make a quick homemade chili that you can make on a busy work night or for lunch on the weekends. You choose. It's so quick and easy, you can make it anytime. So the first thing I'm going to start with is our ingredients. First up, I have 1 pound of 80/20 ground beef. I've used 85/15, 90/10, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is just what I had at my store. You can use ground sirloin, ground turkey, whatever your preference. I didn't need this to be really lean for this recipe, so I don't mind that it's 80/20. So 1 pound. Then I have 1 can of chili seasoned kidney beans, and I have 1 can of dark red kidney beans. Now at this point, you don't have to use these specific beans. I have used light red kidney beans. I have used lower sodium kidney beans. I also use black beans because one time that's what I had in my pantry. So you can choose what beans you want to use. That's just what I had on hand. The seasoned chili beans, they just have a mild chili seasoning that goes well with the overall chili flavor. So I just got those because they were lightly seasoned already. Then I start with 1 10-ounce can of tomatoes. This is diced tomatoes with peppers because my family likes things a little hot, but I've also used the chili seasoned tomatoes and just regular diced tomatoes. Whatever you have is fine. I have salt that I'll be using to taste, so you can use however much salt you want. Then I have garlic powder. This is about a teaspoon of garlic powder. That's what I use for the ground beef. You don't have to use this, but I like to season my ground beef before I add it to the chili. I have 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. I think it really, to me, it makes the beef flavor more intense. It brings out the beef flavor and it's good in the chili. So that's my preference. But again, that's a personal preference. You don't have to use it if you don't have it. And of course, I have black pepper because I love pepper. My family is okay with pepper. I have to cut down on some of it because I really like black pepper in my food. But I have black pepper and I have a pack of chili seasoning mix. I have the hot chili mix. This is just what my store had. You can use whichever one you choose. I don't have a particular brand preference. I usually like to get the hot if I can. I've used the medium and the mild. Not a fan of mild, but I've used the medium before, but our preference is hot because again, my family likes a little heat in our food. So these are the basic starter ingredients. Then you could use and have a bowl of chili. Easy peasy. But again, this is a very versatile recipe. You can change it to fit your diet, your family's preference, or whatever is in your pantry. I'll try to make a note if I make any edits or changes, but really it comes down to the tasting portion of the recipe. When I taste it or when I look at it, I kind of decide if I need to add something or if it needs a little bit of this or a little bit of that. But before we get to all of that, we have to brown this brown, can't say the words today. We have to brown this ground beef. So let's get over to the stove and start on that. So now I'm about to brown the ground beef in my trusty Dutch oven. I have a larger one, but this is a nice size for chili for my family. So I'm gonna turn the heat on medium-low, or low-medium, I guess. I don't know. Does it make a difference? So I'm going to add the ground beef. I could have added a little oil at this point, but the ground beef makes its own fat, so it's going to be enough that it's not going to be a really sticking problem. And also I have my trusty wooden spoon to scrape up any bits that get stuck. And with this Dutch oven, things just don't really stick. So I don't mind that there's no oil in here. It'll start coming out and it won't stick. So we first start with the ground beef. I add my garlic powder. I add the Worcestershire sauce. I add some black pepper. I like pepper. And I add some salt to taste. This is 2 pinches. Measure that, right? Maybe 2 teaspoons. 2 pinches and a sprinkle. How about that? And then I just start breaking up the ground beef. Right now, the pan is pretty cold. I didn't want it to be overly hot when I put it in because it does stick when I do that a little bit. You know, it takes a while. It won't stick after a while, but it does stick a bit. But right now, the pan's heating up. You have a Dutch oven, you know it does not take them long to heat up. And once they do, they maintain that heat. So I'm coming back to the meat to check on it. I can see it's already starting to brown, which is wonderful. I'm just continuing to break it up more so I don't have really big clumps of meat as it's cooking. But you can see it's already starting to brown very nicely. So again, I'm just breaking it up and I'll come back to check on it again. So we are almost there. The ground beef has been cooking now for about 7 minutes. So you can see most of it is brown. We have a few pink spots and I'm breaking up just to make sure all of it gets cooked thoroughly through. So a few more minutes. Usually it takes about 10 to 15 minutes for me to cook about a pound of ground beef because I cook it pretty low because I don't want to burn it. So we will just check it again in a few minutes. So now I have finished browning the ground beef. I allowed it to drain so I could get any of the fat that was falling off of it. I use the same method in my video for making lasagna, so go back and check it out if you don't know what I'm talking about. So now it's time to basically dump all the ingredients back in the pan and start back cooking. So this is the same pan that I used to brown. I can't say that word today. I don't know what that is. But anyway, the same pan I used to brown my ground beef. So I'm just dumping it back in here. And you can see the fat drained away. And then I'm just adding my kidney beans and my chili seasoned beans back in. I'm just going to get all this is the chili seasoning. I actually drained the red kidney beans because I didn't want that water that they were sitting in the can. But obviously for the seasoned chili beans, I kept that because the seasoning was in the liquid. And then I add in my tomatoes. Get all of that in there. And then we add our chili seasoning mix. Again, this is kind of a dump all your ingredients moment. So for me, this is a consistency check. So I'm just going to turn my heat back to about medium. This is a consistency check. So at this point, you can check to see if you need additional ingredients, if you need to add anything. For my family, we like our chili to have a little more liquid than solid, like a little wetter. So this is the point where you can add the water. You have to add water for the chili mix anyway, but use the directions on your chili mix. But this is when I check to see, maybe I want to add a few more tomatoes because I have a lot of beans in here. It's a lot of ground beef. I think I want to add my additional can of tomatoes and I'm going to add some water. So let me get those and I will add it next. So I checked my chili, wasn't really happy with the consistency, and the mix that I used, they actually said to add tomato sauce to it. I didn't really want to add tomato sauce, so I added about a cup of water and I added another can of tomatoes. It was a 10-ounce can of diced tomatoes. So that is more of the consistency that I'm looking for, more liquid. So at this time, I really want the flavors to combine or marry. I want everything to mix well. And then I do a taste test. And that's when you can decide, maybe I need a little extra just chili powder, not even chili seasoning. Maybe I need some more salt or some more pepper. If it's not hot enough, maybe you add cayenne pepper, or for my family, a lot of times I add hot sauce. So I'm gonna let those marry for a while, let it kind of strike a boil, low simmer to low boil, and then I'm gonna taste it and see if I like it. So as you can see, it's a nice simmer, low boil here. And this is the time when you taste. We follow the recipe, put all the ingredients in, all great and good, but you can always check. I like to check the seasoning of my food throughout. So obviously when the food is cooked, don't taste anything wrong. So I have my tasting spoon here. I'm just gonna get a little of the liquid. And you don't want to put a spoon that's been in my mouth in the big pot, okay? It's very good. I'm getting a bit of the heat. That's why I couldn't speak. But it is very good. It is spicy. My family will like it. And if you're in my house right now, my entire house smells like really good chili. Like it's everywhere. It is so good. So now it's time to take it off the heat and serve. And now we have our nice, delicious, and wonderfully smelling pot of chili. I have my little bowl here, starting with my bowl. And instead of cornbread this time, I actually have corn chips. So we eat it different ways. Sometimes there's tortilla chips. Sometimes we use cornbread. Sometimes we use corn chips. Tonight, it's corn chips. And then I have my shredded cheese. So I'm gonna sprinkle a little shredded cheese on top. And of course, gotta have some sour cream. And then I'll just I treat them kind of like croutons. I just put a little bit on top. So I'm gonna taste some. It's still really hot, but I let it cool down a little bit. Get a little sour cream and a corn chip. First taste. It's really good. I'm not gonna smack and chew in front of you right now, but this is really good. So I'm gonna finish this bowl. But the wonderful news is you can make it yourself. And like I said, this is a very versatile recipe. I added the things that I like to season mine with, but you can do it for yours. Don't worry about it. And of course, you need to follow the instructions on the packet of your seasoning mix. I follow mine, but I made a few changes because I'm used to using it and I make it the way I want. But I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you give it a try. Please try this chili. It's really good. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. And as always, I welcome your comments and questions. So until the next time, enjoy your chili and have a great day. Goodbye.